The Golden State Warriors lost today to the Chicago Bulls, 132 to 118. A few things stood out about this loss, I would say, is the biggest thing that stood out to me was Vucevic went off for 43 points. He had a career high of 43 points, and judging by the highlights, no one on the Warriors could guard him. I think that was really kind of amazing because I saw quite a few times in the highlights when Draymond got switched on him, he easily got whatever he wanted on Draymond. I've never respected Draymond's defense only because I feel the refs let him get away with so much that they won't let other players get away with. But from the highlights, you could see Draymond not being able to do anything whenever he caught the ball, that he got whatever he wanted against Draymond on the switches. Granted, he wasn't guarded primarily by Draymond. He was also guarded by Looney. But what it shows to me is that the Warriors really have a weakness at their power forward and center spot that can be exploited if they run into a team in the playoffs have a good big man. For example, the Denver Nuggets with Jokic, or even just a decent big man, they could be exploited. It also shows that they have a weakness when it comes to protecting the interior that could be exploited by any team, regardless of whether or not they have a good big man or not. Guards can slash in there, perimeter players can get to the paint at will. So I would say those things stood out to me, but it was really the post-game comments of Klay Thompson that stand out to me, in which he was asked about whether or not he was concerned about the Warriors' level of play for the playoffs, I believe. I think that was the question. And he said, none, 0-0. Get us here healthy and hopefully a good seed. Now, if you watch that clip, I think his facial expressions say it best, that he had a smirk on his face. You could see the smugness there. So there's a lot of arrogance by Klay, in the sense that he believes that they're going to be okay regardless of what seed they get. I think he implied that he wanted to get a good seed, but if they didn't, it didn't matter. That's the vibe I got from him, but I think that's dangerous thinking. I'm willing to bet on the odds and just NBA history. Only one team in NBA history has won a championship without getting a top four seed in their conference, and that was the 1995 Rockets. So they did that in 95, and that took a lot of luck, and it took an insane amount of a godlike play by Hakeem Olajuwon. I remember watching that playoff run as a kid, and just Hakeem Olajuwon went on God mode during that playoff run, and I feel for the Warriors to be able to win it all as a low seed without home court advantage throughout the whole entire playoffs, they would need the same type of luck, and I don't think it's going to happen for them. To me, they remind me more of the 2003 Lakers and not so much the 95 Rockets, because the 95 Rockets didn't really have that arrogance, which they could just boldly say that they're going to be okay. They actually had some doubt whether or not they could get back to that second title if they had a chance. But they never had that arrogance. They had a healthy amount of confidence where they felt they had a chance, but they knew it wasn't going to be easy. You just didn't see Hakeem or Clyde Drexler just having that arrogance, or the role players having that type of arrogance. To me, it really reminds me of, like what I said, the '03 Lakers. They had this extreme arrogance because they had been three-time champs, that they were going to easily flip on that switch in the playoffs, and that it was going to work in their favor, and teams were just going to fall apart when they play them because they've had that mental edge on teams for a while. And it didn't work out that way. Obviously, they ended up losing to the Spurs in the second round, and they were shell shocked because they couldn't believe it that they could go out the way they did. They ended up losing the Spurs by nearly 30 points in the elimination game. And I think something like that is going to probably happen to the Warriors. This team is arrogant beyond belief, and they have a lot of holes. I've seen some of their games this year, and their defense is absolute trash, and they're just a turnover machine when it comes to turnovers. So I don't think these things can be corrected easily, and I think they're in a lot of trouble. Even if they get into the playoffs, I just think they're going down, and rightfully so. This is an arrogant team that is not to be respected. There's one thing I can understand: arrogance. If you're doing great, fine. I don't like it, but I can respect it. But arrogance with a poor record, and you're not playing with competence, I would say, is just downright disrespectful. And they're gonna get what they deserve. I definitely believe that. So that's all I have to say.